Today we're going to talk about something really important, something that a lot of us feel but maybe don't talk about enough. It's that feeling of being stuck, that nagging sense that our friendships, even with people we really care about, have just stopped getting deeper. We're going to break down exactly why that happens and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Does that sound familiar at all? You have your friends, maybe people you've known for ages. You get together, you catch up, but it feels like there's this line you just never cross. This is what we're calling the Friendship Plateau. It's that invisible wall between just being pleasant company and having that deep, meaningful connection that really feeds your soul. And look, this isn't just some vague feeling, it's a real thing, and just understanding it is the first crucial step to breaking right through it.
So let's really dive into this friendship plateau. If you felt it, you might have wondered, is it me? Did I do something wrong? Maybe I'm just not as interesting as I used to be. But here is the most important thing I want you to hear today. This is not a personal failure, not at all. It's a common, almost universal experience that's really rooted in these subtle but powerful shifts that are happening inside our own brains.
I love this phrase because it just nails the feeling, doesn't it? Mutual politeness paralysis. It's that script we all know so well. You ask about their grandkids, they ask about your health. You talk about the weather, you talk about the news. The conversation is perfectly nice, it's totally safe, and it's completely on the surface. You're both politely keeping the friendship going, but nobody's really going any deeper. It's like this comfortable standstill where true intimacy just can't find an opening. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter, the biology behind it. You see, our brains are hardwired for survival, and there's a part of our brain that's kind of like a little smoke alarm, always scanning for danger. As we get older, that system starts to look at social situations a little differently. It leads to something called social risk aversion. Basically, your brain starts to see the potential for an awkward pause, or saying the wrong thing, or being a little vulnerable as a really big risk. And the potential reward of a deeper friendship? Well, it just doesn't feel as urgent. So your brain defaults to the safest play. Keep it light, keep it predictable, and stay right on that plateau.
So, how does this whole safety reflex even develop? We've already established this isn't about you becoming boring or losing interest. Nope, it's about your brain's safety settings getting a little overprotective. In this next part, we're going to dig into a couple of really fascinating psychological theories that explain exactly why this happens, and why even our closest friendships can feel like they've hit a wall.
Okay, so first up, there's something called socio-emotional selectivity theory. Now, this actually starts out as a really good thing. As we get older and our perspective on time changes, our brains just naturally start pushing us toward experiences that are more emotionally meaningful. We stop needing a giant circle of friends, we just want the good ones. We want quality over quantity. But here's the big paradox. At the exact same time we're craving that deep emotional connection, another part of our brain is putting up roadblocks to the one thing that gets us there, being genuinely open and vulnerable.
And that leads right into this next idea, relational maintenance fatigue. Just think about it for a second. For decades, you have been navigating incredibly complex relationships at work, with your partner, raising kids. You've managed conflicts, smoothed things over, and handled all sorts of emotional heavy lifting. Your nervous system has put in the work. So now it's kind of subconsciously looking for a vacation. It wants things to be easy, low friction. And deep, honest, sometimes messy conversations, well, that doesn't feel like a vacation. That feels like more work.
And this really gets to the core of the conflict, doesn't it? Your desire for a deeper friendship is absolutely real. But your brain, trying to be efficient and save energy, starts putting a label on it, high energy expense. It's kind of like wanting to climb a beautiful mountain for that amazing view, but your body is screaming at you to just stay on the nice, easy, flat path. The plateau feels stable, it feels safe. But over time, that stability can lead to what you might call social malnutrition. You're getting plenty of social calories, but none of the real deep emotional nourishment you need.
Okay, so we get the biology, we get the psychology. The big question is, what do we do about it? How do we actually change this dynamic? Well, it all starts with a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about moving from just passively maintaining your friendships to actively, intentionally building them. It's about seeing yourself as the architect of your own social life.
This lays it out perfectly. On the left, you have our default mode, polite maintenance. The goal is just to avoid any awkwardness. The focus is keeping things harmonious. The action is protecting the peace at all costs. That right there is the plateau. But on the right, that's where the growth happens. That's intentional vulnerability. Here, the goal isn't just comfort, it's depth. The focus isn't on just simple harmony, but on sharing the beautiful, messy complexity of our lives. And the action? It's choosing to share just a little bit more of what's really going on inside. This is the new identity I want you to try on. You are not just a passive observer of your friendships. You are a sovereign relational architect. You have the power, you have the tools, and you have decades of wisdom to design the kinds of connections you truly want. This means you stop letting that old biological fear of awkwardness call the shots. You decide what kind of foundation you want to build your relationships on.
And this idea completely reframes what it means to be vulnerable. We often think that sharing what's really on our minds, a worry, a hope, a moment of uncertainty, is a burden we're putting on someone else. But that's the plateau talking. The architect's mindset sees it totally differently. Your truth is your currency. It is the most valuable thing you can offer a friend. When you share it, you're not being a problem. You are extending an invitation to go deeper. You are offering something real, and that in turn is one of the best things you can do for your own cognitive health and vitality.
All right, so the new mindset is in place. But how do we actually do this without it feeling totally scary or weird? Let's move from the what to the how. This is what we'll call the incremental disclosure protocol. Think of it as a toolkit designed to gently retrain your social brain for depth, one small, manageable step at a time.
Let's think of these as relational drills. They're just small, simple exercises to start building new habits, new pathways in your brain that make deeper connection feel less like a huge risk and more like a natural, rewarding part of your life. This isn't about changing who you are. It's just about giving yourself permission to show a little bit more of the amazing person you've become. Let's walk through them.
The key to all of this is starting small. So, the 5% rule is your most powerful, most accessible tool. It's so simple. In your next conversation, just try to share about 5% more than you normally would. So instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm fine," maybe you say, "I'm fine, but I've been feeling a little anxious about this thing next week." It's not some dramatic confession. It's just a tiny, honest piece of your inner world. And that small shift is incredibly powerful. On a subconscious level, it signals to your friend that this is a safe space to be real, which makes it so much easier for them to open up in return.
Next, we have the inquiry pivot. We all get stuck in ruts with the questions we ask. Transactional questions like, "How are the kids?" get transactional autopilot answers like, "Oh, they're good." But an experiential question like, "What's been the most surprising part of your week?" or maybe, "What's something you're really looking forward to?" that bypasses the autopilot. It invites a story, it asks for a little reflection. It's a question that gently nudges both of you off the plateau and into a much more interesting conversation.
And these last two tools build on that momentum. The shared activity stimulus is all about changing the scenery. Instead of just grabbing coffee, try doing something new together. Take a class, volunteer, learn a new skill. When you tackle a new challenge together, your brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and that naturally lowers social barriers. And finally, the vulnerability lead. This is just about being the first one to be human. Admitting a small imperfection like, "Ugh, I cannot figure out how this new phone works," or, "To be honest, I was a little nervous about coming here today." That doesn't make you look weak, it makes you relatable. It gives the other person permission to be imperfect too. And that's where real trust begins.
Let's just pause for a second and look at the big picture here. It's really easy to hear all this and think, wow, that sounds like a lot of work. But I want you to completely reframe that thought. Your desire to break through this friendship plateau, that hunger you feel for deeper connection, that is not a problem. It's a profound sign of your emotional and spiritual vitality.
Seriously, think about it. You have lived for decades. You have this incredible wealth of stories, of wisdom, of resilience. You are a master of human experience. This is not the time in your life to settle for polite chit-chat. This is the time to refine your connections, to share that wisdom you've earned, and to connect with people on a level that actually reflects the amazing depth you now hold inside.
And this isn't just some nice feel-good idea. It is backed by solid science. The research is crystal clear on this. People who actively build and maintain deep, high-disclosure friendships report significantly higher levels of life satisfaction. It's also directly tied to better brain health and a stronger immune system. So the effort you put into deepening your friendships is a direct investment in your own health and happiness.
So, we've walked through the problem, we understand why it happens, and now we have a toolkit. It really all comes down to taking that first small step. So let's wrap this up with a gentle but really powerful challenge to help you start building that bridge from the plateau to a future with much deeper, more fulfilling connections.
Before we get to the challenge, I want this idea to really land. That impulse to keep the conversation safe is the very thing that's keeping the connection small. And remember, that safety reflex is biological. It is not a character flaw. It's just your brain trying to protect you. But the real, lasting safety in a friendship comes from being authentic,
not from avoiding the real stuff. Vulnerability is the only way across that bridge.
And that journey starts with this number, 5%. That's it. That's your challenge. Sometime in the next few days, I want you to think of one friend you feel like you've been stuck on that plateau with. And in your next conversation, just try the 5% rule. Share one small, unpolished thought, one minor worry, one specific hope. That's all. You're not trying to have some huge life-changing talk. You're just gently pushing the door open a tiny crack.
Because in the end, that's what this is really all about. It's about honoring the entire journey that brought you to this point. You have navigated so much in life, and you fought hard to keep your heart open to it all. Now is the time to bring that full, authentic self into your friendships. Risk the depth your wisdom deserves. Claim the connection your spirit craves, and lead your life with the full power of that incredible heart.